we attack. We absolutely attack the things that technology is trying to do to us, that negative news is trying to do, that all the noise is trying to bring on us. You know, everybody's trying to play the game. Look at me. You're competing and keeping up with the Joneses. So much noise. We all know what we need to do, but are you doing it?
Top leaders, meaningful conversation, actionable advice, bulldoze complacency, ignite inspiration, create impact. Produced by the Southwestern family of companies. This is the Action Catalyst.
Legendary University of Tennessee coach and leader Pat Summitt famously used to say, "Nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care." Pat's caring attitude motivated her to create a formula for success and leadership in life called the Definite Dozen. These principles served as the foundation of her program for decades.
Pat Summitt was a coaching and leadership superstar, the stuff of legend. The Pat Summitt Leadership Group was formed to spread the words and teachings of Pat Summitt. Using film, educational programs, and publishing, the Pat Summitt Leadership Group uses Pat's Definite Dozen to help leaders of all ages find personal and professional success.
The question now is, will you claim what success looks like for you? Don't settle for mediocrity. Do what Pat did. Win at life and change the world. Get started at PatSummittLeadershipGroup.com.
Today's guest is Tyler Summitt, son of legendary coach Pat Summitt, who carries on his mother's winning principles as the co-founder of the Pat Summitt Leadership Group and co-founder and board member of the Pat Summitt Foundation.
Hey, Tyler, how are you?
Good. How you doing?
I'm good. It's super nice to meet you.
Absolutely. Likewise. Thanks for having me on.
So I'm not from Tennessee. I don't know anything about basketball. I know your mom is ridiculously respected. I know enough to know that.
You know what's awesome? I love that. You know why I love that? Because I love talking to people that have not heard of mom. Because a lot of times if people have heard of mom, it's like, oh yeah, I've heard that story. But when we do things for the Pat Summitt Foundation or the Pat Summitt Leadership Group, and people don't hear about mom, a lot of times their life is just changed in a way where if they'd heard about mom over time, it's like, okay. But when somebody gets smacked in the face with some Pat Summitt, it's pretty cool what happens. Heck, we just got a testimonial. It's on my desk right now. I didn't even start like this. How cool is this? This is a testimonial for the Pat Summitt Leadership Group and the online program. It's this program. It's like an 8-hour course on the Definite Dozen. And my mom, you get certified in my mom's Definite Dozen, her 12 principles for success. This is from the financial industry. This is an IT. Listen to this testimonial. Testimonial says, I was not from Tennessee. I didn't really follow sports. Okay, sound familiar? I was a little skeptical when this Pat Summitt online leadership program was introduced, thinking, how is a basketball coach going to teach me, an IT leader? I wasn't sure I would connect with her, but I was sorely mistaken. I found that the way she loved and invested in her people was exactly how I felt a leader should be, and I found myself wanting to be more like her and to see the impact that she had on her people even decades after they're gone from Tennessee basketball cemented for me that how you treat people and lead people for the good or the bad will follow them for the rest of their lives. It makes me strive every day to be the type of leader that impacts my team in a positive way, and I am more careful in the choices I make daily. There you go.
Awesome. Okay. With that being said, I want to just start from scratch. Start at the beginning.
Yeah, absolutely. My mom was just a winner. I don't know how else to put it. She was a winner. And it wasn't just on the court, it was off the court. I mean, she literally retired as the winningest coach in the industry. And so retired with more wins than anybody, men or women. She was labeled the coach of the century. That one always gets me still, like coach of the century. Like for whoever's listening to this, take your title and put of the century out of it. Maybe you're the salesperson. What if you're the salesperson of the century? You know, maybe you're the stay-at-home mom. What if you're the stay-at-home mom of the century? Is that not crazy? I mean, of the century. She got the Presidential Medal of Freedom, highest civilian honor that you can possibly get. She was top 50 female leaders in the country. Like leader, not sports. For those of you that aren't sports people, this ain't about sports. This is about life, you know. And my mom got every accolade you can imagine, gave keynotes, did so much for women's sports, yes, but women in general, and honestly, leadership. And so Really, really proud of her. It started when she was on a dairy farm. You know, she was so shy. Like if you had met my mom back then, I'm told that you would not think this was going to be somebody that went on to become a celebrity. You know, one story that she liked to tell about how shy she was is when she was playing in the Olympics. And so my mom is the head coach at Tennessee, but playing in the Olympics. There's no WNBA. There's no women's professional basketball. They'd take college players and a head coach to go play in the Olympics for 1976. How crazy is that? My mom ended up becoming the first American to win an Olympic medal as both a player and a coach. And so she's playing in the Olympics. And again, this is going to tell you who my mom was back in the day. First game with her teammates, first game with her coaches, and her dad comes to watch. He was a 6'5" tobacco farmer. I mean, this guy is scary. This guy is like legit. And he's in the front row and he's up there and he's yelling, "Rebound, Trish, Trish, rebound." My mom's full name is Patricia, and her family called her Trish, not Pat. Nobody knows that my mom's name. I mean, they all think this is Pat. You know, it's Pat. So it's like, who's this guy yelling at? So my mom's playing hard, but she said one of her teammates that game had like 30 rebounds. For those of you who don't know basketball, 30 rebounds is crazy. And so my mom said this teammate of hers had like 30 rebounds. That teammate's name was Trish Roberts. Trish Roberts thought this scary 6'5" tobacco farmer was going to kill her if she didn't rebound, right? I tell that story because it shows who my mom was. This shy farm girl, to be honest with you, that was too shy to correct people at age 18. And she was too shy to do that. And now we all know her as Pat Summitt. And I think that's just a message to anybody listening. I don't know what you're going through in life, but I know that my mom's story can help you because she has gone through so many things that we're going to talk about, you know, on this podcast, that it just shows you if you can do things the right way, if you can make winning an attitude, if you can it's a mindset, and you can control it. It's in your control. It's just a testament to what you can accomplish in life. My mom went on to do all those things, but she had to go through the wall of being shy. She had to attack that head on. And so that gives you a kind of like, where did she come from? And then who did she become and how did she do it? So maybe that was a good place to start.
Fantastic place to start. Okay, so incredible icon. What's this Pat Summitt Leadership Group, PSLG?
Yeah, that's a great question. It is an organization that I co-founded so that people did not miss out on knowing who my mom was, but more importantly, on learning from her and helping themselves in their own life. You know, I think there's certain figures that can just impact people. They're almost like, you know, you hear their story and you see what they've done. It's like, oh my gosh, you just believe. And my mom was just one of those people. And so, you know, as an only child, I wanted to make sure people continued to be successful. And it's happening. Listen, I read you that testimonial from the financial industry. I mean, we've got entertainment industry, Dollywood's gone through, financial industry, restaurant groups, construction companies, healthcare, stay-at-home parents, like you name it. Every industry is going through the trainings and listening to keynotes and going through in-person workshops and going through online programs and all the above. We're reading books. My mom is still impacting people right now, today. We're all over the place and we're helping people in every industry. So it's so cool what's happening. It's my mom's definite dozen. The book she wrote back in the 90s is 12 Principles for Success. Everything's based off of that. And that's what she attributes her success to. And it's applying that to, okay, and your company, how does that apply? And again, it's changing lives for the better. And as you can imagine, as the only child, I mean, I thoroughly enjoy seeing people improve through my mom's legacy.
Okay, so drill down with me. So you're saying, hey, it's these 12 principles. Where did these come from? What are the real life applications? What are some of the takeaways that you have seen be so meaningful and impactful for folks?
Absolutely. So my mom had a recipe for success. It's a definite dozen. Now, when she wrote it, actually sat down and wrote the book, she had already won 3 national championships. She ended up winning 5 more. And so the definite dozen, it's not like my mom reinvented the wheel for leadership. You know, it's things like communication, respect, teamwork, hard work, things like that. And so there's these skills, though, that it seems like we're losing in today's day and age, right? Because of cell phones. because of all the noise and emails and the news and all this stuff, the Pat Summit Leadership Group uses a variety of different methods, in-person training, online, to come and say, okay, here's the right way to do things. Here's how you can treat people the right way. Here's how you win in life with people. So again, what are the real life applications? Well, the first thing that's really taken off is when you go through our online programs, and we have multiple. We have one that's just overall leadership, definite dozen. We have one that's a power of team. We have one that's specific for women's leadership. So no matter who you are, what industry you're in, there's one for you. And what we've seen is when people go through that and they spread it out over 6 months or a year, habits are formed, right? And it's great to say, here are my goals, but let me just watch you for a day and I'll tell you who you are. Let me watch your habits. Let me watch what you do. I don't need you to tell me about, what you plan to do and what you're thinking about and what you tweeted you were going to do and what you told your friend you were going to do and what your New Year's resolution was. I don't need to know any of that. I need to see what you do with your habits. And then I'll tell you who you are and what you're going to accomplish and if you're going to accomplish the goals or not. And so that's what the online program does. Our online programs, you can go to the website and look them all up. It'll take you through over time, self-paced, bite-sized learning. And you learn, okay, this is how I build habits. And so great place to start is right there with the website, going to checking out those online programs.
So you said something super keen, and we've talked a lot about this in the podcast, is there is, without a doubt, there's so much conversation and content around developing leadership skills and developing leaders. And I think this is part of what makes your mom's story so unique. She was on that cutting edge where a lot of leadership was really management. They didn't call people leaders. So I would imagine just simply the fact that she approached what she did and how she did what she did from a leadership mentality really made her stand out, because even coaches, they were managers back in the day. That's how you led, is through managing people, telling them what to do. It was very different. Well, then we had this tremendous growth of folks like your mom that really took management and transitioned it into true leadership. It's inspiring. It's the Stephen Covey's, the Pat Summitt. It is really looking at things and learning different. What to me is so interesting, it's like over the last several years, that has fallen to the wayside because exactly what you said, the distractions of technology. And we are really seeing this thirst and desire and a void in this next generation of leadership that truly, they know the term, they know how to describe leadership, but they haven't experienced it, and they certainly don't know how to implement it. What I'm hearing from you is this is an opportunity in an organization that's committed to bringing that back and showing folks this is how you develop, because leadership, it's this absolute science. And I think that's what I'm hearing from you is your mom figured that out and is able to translate that to the masses.
No, you couldn't be more right. I mean, we every day, and that's why I love the Pat Summit Leadership, we absolutely attack the things that technology is trying to do to us, that negative news is trying to do, that all the noise is trying to bring on us, that everybody's trying to play the game. Look at me, you're competing and keeping up with the Joneses. And it's just like, there's so much noise. We all know, honestly, I think we all know what we need to do, but are you doing it? Are you doing it for the people around you? And yes, people we're seeing with companies that bring us in and like, hey, we need help on loyalty and retention and da-da-da. It's like, okay, well, they're not leaving your company. They're leaving your leaders. They're not being led. They're not being invested in. They're not improving. They don't see a future here. And mom was so magical at this. Strategy is a word that we throw around a lot. Let's do a SWOT analysis and let's do all this complicated stuff. Hold on a second. Let's boil strategy down, because my mom was magical at this. She was a master at this. She had to do this over and over again in games. She'd have 90 seconds in a basketball game. There's a timeout. It lasts 90 seconds max, some of them 30 seconds. And she'd have to bring everybody in. She'd have to listen to her assistant coaches real quick, her staff, her C-suite. Then she'd have to go into a huddle. Again, all this in 90 seconds. Get everybody organized. Say, okay, here's what we're going to do. Here's how we're going to do it. And here's why we're going to do it. Here's why it's going to work. It made them believe in it. And then she'd say, okay, now let's go. And then she'd have to do it again. She'd have to do it in the game. And then in her career, you got to think, in a college team, you lose 25% of your seniors, they leave. So you lose 25% of your team every year. And they're like your leaders. You're not losing frontline. So she's losing 25% every year and bringing in 25%, which are rookies, fresh out of high school. So every year she had to go through strategy. What, how, and why. And I think we're talking about leadership. I think we're losing sight of making sure everybody has the why. And we've heard TED Talks and we've read it about know your why, but do you do it? Like, I'm challenging the people listen to this. Do you do that in every area of life? Do you do it in your faith? I don't care what your faith is. Mom is a Christian, I'm a Christian, but whatever that is for you, do you have that? Like, do you have a strategy for your faith? We all have mission statements at work. Do you have a mission statement for your life? What about your family? You have kids. Your kids know why they're here? Do they know how to be successful? Do they know what they're trying to do? What about your significant other? Do you know what you're trying to accomplish? Do you know why you have that relationship? Do you have a joint statement where it's like, this is what we're trying to do? My mom did it over and over and over again. It was so simple, but everybody bought in because she was a leader. And here's the secret sauce. She would help them with the what, the how, and the why, okay? Before a season even started, the what. Let's start with the what. She would say, okay, the what was usually a national championship, and she got 8 of them, which is a lot. So she would take them through sometimes the different things before a season, before a game even started. She would say, okay, what are we trying to accomplish? National championship. All right, let's go through the national championship celebration. They haven't even played a game yet. And she says, we're going to celebrate this year's national championship that they haven't won yet. And she goes, okay, we're all going to walk in a line like this. All right, now you're going to sit in this order. Okay, good. The band is on the left. Imagine them there. All the fans are on the right. Okay, now here's the speech. I'll talk first. You're captain, you talk second. The banner's going up right here. Hey, tomorrow, does everybody have a suit and a dress? We're going to the White House to meet the president tomorrow because we won the national championship. She's literally doing daily affirmations. I mean, this is in the 80s and 90s, so before her time. She's literally taking them through daily affirmations. It's like it already happened. It's like they already won in April, but it's August. And they're months and months and months from even that game. They don't even know if they're going to make it to that game. Everybody knew the what. Now let's go to the how. Okay, she would have her players lay down on the court and visualize what they were going to do in the game the next day. And listen, that was a lot for a coach to do that because you only got an hour for tournament practices, which is not a lot for a practice. You only got an hour. She would seemingly waste practice time to have them lay on the court, close their eyes, and visualize. But it worked. And they beat the competition. And they were successful. Do you do that in your life? Are you doing that with your team? Are you doing that with your family? Are you doing that with your peers? Do you wake up and have a morning routine? That's what we're trying to help people do. Before you look at the phone and you look at the noise and you look at all this stuff, you've got to take control of your life. You've got to take control of your team before we go through the emails and da-da-da-da-da. You've got to take control and say, this is what we're doing, how we're doing it. Let's go to the why, because this is the most important point. Everybody knows that, but listen to what my mom did. My mom would have one-on-one meetings with everybody in the organization. Everybody. And it took some time. And everybody's like, I don't have time. Trust me, you have time for this. You have time to have one-on-one meetings with the people around you. If you don't have time for that, then come on. Turn off the TV, turn off the emails, turn off the shows, whatever you're doing. Get off of Twitter and all the social media and have a real conversation with somebody and say, okay, why are you doing this? Why are you at our company? What's the goal? What do you want? Why are you here? Like, why? Like, tell me your why. And my mom would do that with each player. She would know that player number 1 wanted to go on and play professionally. She wanted to go overseas. She wanted to travel the world playing basketball. She'd know that player number 2 just wanted to make her family proud. That's it. She didn't want to go on and play pro. She wanted to do a career, something else. And so what if my mom tried to do the same speech to both of them? What if my mom tried to motivate them the same way? What if my mom just came in like a cookie cutter and had like some managers and said, all right, here's what we got to do, go. And that's it. No, my mom she'd still do the what and the how, but then she'd go to player 1. She'd say, hey, she whisper, hey, there's going to be pro scouts at that game tomorrow. You've got this. You've got this. Your dreams are coming. She'd go to player number 2 and she'd say, hey, the game's on national TV tomorrow. Your family's going to be so proud of you. You've earned this. It was magical that just that small little 10 seconds to each individual reinforcing their why, and their why fit under the company why, the business why, the organization's why. If we win as a team, everybody else accomplishes their goals. And really caring about people, mom loved the quote, people do not care about how much you know until they know how much you care. My mom cared. I mean, she cared about people so much. And so I think that's a real life example of something my mom did over and over and over every year.
I don't want to oversimplify this. I think you just hit something that is so clutch. People know their what, and it's not hard for them to figure out what their what is. They sometimes think they know their why, but it's not until they really share it with somebody else and drill down into the details does it really come to life, which when it comes to life, it becomes meaningful. But that middle piece of the how, that is where I think so many folks don't know. And what I'm really hearing is this mission, this group is to bridge that gap. You think you know what you want, you think you know why, and we're going to expand on all that. But most importantly, let me show you how.
Absolutely. And I think what comes into mind when you say the how is, are you willing to sit there and do all the, analyzing all the stuff you want to do, but then can you simplify it? And can you say, okay, here's what I'm going to do every single day. Mom had certain things she did every single day. And she was just consistent with that. She was always trying to improve those areas. She was always, okay, let me improve this one a little bit. Let me improve this. But there were certain things that she did where she knew if I do these things, I might not win every game, right? My mom didn't win every game, but she was a winner. And over time, if you're willing to do that, you're willing to do the things that other people aren't willing to do, you're eventually going to get things that other people aren't willing to get. I mean, our world's competitive. I'm just being honest. Really, it doesn't matter about other people. They're competitors. It matters about yourself. Are you competing to be the best person that you can be? Are you the best version of yourself? And that, again, is what Mom did so well. And she knew how to do it. And then she helped other people know how to do it. It's crazy, too. You talk about team. There's research on this. And I've heard it various different ways. But if you just have an idea, just like, I kind of want to do something, you actually have a small chance of accomplishing it. It's like 10%. Like, where it's just, I got an idea. Like this, I could do this. And that's not bad. Like 1 in 10 shot. If I just think of something, okay. If you create a SMART goal, and we all have heard of that, specific, measurable, make sure it's time bound. If you do that, okay, it goes up. If you set a how, like how you're going to do it, the process, it actually goes over 50%. So that's what gets you over 50%. But if you set up weekly accountability meetings with other people and say, hey, check in on me on this, hold me accountable to this, and you actually attend those meetings and they're holding you accountable, you have over a 90% success rate. So you have the what, you know your why, you got the how, that got you over the hump. Make sure there's other people around you. Show me the 5 people you surround yourself with, yada, yada, yada. And we all know that, but do you do it? Do your friends know what you want to accomplish? Do your friends know your dreams? Do you know their dreams? Are you holding them accountable? Are you helping each other make good decisions? Same with your family, same at work. This is every area of life. That's what I'm trying to say. The Pat Summitt Leadership Group, it's about life. This is legit, and I've seen it work because I grew up with it. And I saw one of the biggest winners of our time and how she had an attitude and how it was in her control and how she helped others do it. And so, yes, you were exactly spot on. The what, the how, and the why, bridging the gap, and then having other people to help you accomplish it. With the Pat Summitt Leadership Group, I've seen it help in times when times were really, really hard. I don't know, life is this way. We're either coming out of a crisis, we're in a crisis right now, or about to go into one. Maybe you're in one right now and you're trying to get a little something. You're trying to get a little motivation. You're trying to learn. Everything's been good. You might be going into one. I hope it's really far from now. Pat Summitt Leadership Group, we want to help you be ready for those situations. We want to help you in life. We want to help you prepare for those things that you just don't see coming when life just smacks you in the face.
Meaningful. Okay, slightly off topic. Did you play sports growing up?
I did. I played a little bit of everything. Actually, one of my mom's favorite stories was a story about me playing soccer. And this story goes into, it shows who my mom is and how much she's willing to change and improve over time. So you got to understand, I'm playing soccer. I'm like 5. But at that point, my mom's already done a lot of the things. Like, she's already been coaching for decades. She's already on the cover of Sports Illustrated. She's already known throughout the state of Tennessee. It's like, nowadays it's Pat, Peyton, Dolly, and Elvis. Those are like the 4 first name people that you've at least heard of if you're in the state of Tennessee, right? And so she's already that. She's already a celebrity. She's already the greatest coach, the greatest in her industry. But she comes to this 5-year-old soccer game, and, I'm out there playing on the first half. It's her first game, my first game and so everything's new. So I'm out there playing. I come over at halftime, and I say, okay, Mom, how'd I do? And she said, you did all right. And Steph, you're learning my mom now. That's not my mom. Like, you're starting to learn, like, it doesn't sound like a Pat Summitt thing to say. So I was like, no, come on, Mom. Like, how'd I do? She said, well, you're not being aggressive. not impacting the game. You're just standing there, like, do something, go that way, go this, go left, go right, do something. I'm like, okay, I'm going to help my team. Okay. So I go back out there, second half, I'm everywhere. I am inline to inline, sideline to sideline. I'm all over the place. And so I'm winded, and I come over, I'm breathing, come back over to my head coach, and we get in our huddle, and he was not happy with me. He was actually really upset at what I had just done in that second half. So I'm confused now. I walk slowly over to Mom. I'm very confused. I was like, okay, Mom, you tell me to be more aggressive. My coach just told me I was playing out of my position. My mom did not realize I was the goalie. In the car ride home, I explained that. I was like, Mom, I was the goalie. And she said, why does that matter? And so,
That's awesome.
it don't matter your position at basketball. You're up and down, you're side to side. So clearly, coach of the century, I hadn't learned soccer yet. But the reason I tell that story, the reason she told that story is what she did after. My mom, coach of the century, took pen and paper. She goes to a 23-year-old assistant soccer coach at Tennessee. That soccer coach went on to be the head coach. She's at Texas now. She's the head coach at Texas. So she knew what she was talking about, but my mom didn't know that. She's 23. And so my mom goes and sits down, pen and paper, says, hey, can you teach me soccer? And starts taking notes. Then that tells you how much my mom was invested in family, and she knew how to be a good mom. But then she started taking notes on team bonding exercises, how to build culture. See, soccer has more players than basketball. So my mom's thinking, if it'll work for 20 people, it'll work for my 10 players. Starts taking notes. My mom won 2 more national championships after that, after taking notes like that, using some of those team bonding exercises, using some of those things that help your culture, and needed them too. With that 2007, 2008 national championship back-to-back, she needed some. Those personalities didn't mix at the beginning. A lot of people don't know that. But those teams needed some of that, and she used that. So again, I asked, are you open to change? Are you comfortable being uncomfortable? Think about how uncomfortable you would be if you are whatever you are of the century. You're the best. And you go there and you're taking notes to 20-something, and you're taking notes, and you're going back to where the industry you're really good at, and you're applying it. I mean, how open to change could you possibly be? And so then I asked somebody listening, like, are you resisting change? Is there somewhere in your life, career, home, maybe in your health? I don't know. Are you resisting change? That's what we enjoy helping with. That's what Mom enjoy helping people with. Being comfortable, being uncomfortable, being comfortable with change. That was one of the things my mom was actually consistent at. Sounds weird. She was consistent being uncomfortable. She was consistent changing and always trying to get better. So that was a long-winded answer to say, did I play sports? But yes.
That's awesome. This has been so meaningful. I could have gone online and read her bio, but hearing you talk about her, super meaningful. And I think it really shows, again, one of my favorite quotes that you quoted was, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And this really brings that to light. Yes, you're honoring your mom without a doubt, but you're also really putting into others to better their lives. An amazing woman. Thank you for helping me get to know her today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
If you enjoy this podcast, please make sure to subscribe. And to stay updated on everything that the Action Catalyst is up to, make sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Action Catalyst Podcast, and on Twitter at Catalyst_Action. And as always, thanks for listening.